How many times have you had a really burning question about New Zealand, but you didn't know the answer to and you were too scared to ask someone because you look like a bit of an idiot? So you go onto Google and you type in, is New Zealand XYZ? And it brings up all the answers. If it smells a bit funny, maybe don't drink it. If the person looks a bit dirty that your house is at, just ask them, you know, when was the last time you cleaned your backflow?
So someone says, some people say to you with a rainwater tank's getting a bit funky. What does that mean? It's getting funky.
In this week's episode, we're going to be answering 7 of those commonly asked questions that people have about New Zealand but are really too scared to ask a real-life person. So let's jump on in and find out what those answers really are.
It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And we're back this week from beautiful Taranaki, always sunny here, never raining.
Honest.
In New Zealand, to share 7 of the most searched out questions that people have on Google about New Zealand. So what do you think about that then?
Well, can I ever go just answering even like thinking about what they would be?
Do you want me to explain what I mean when I say about, you know, when you search in Google, this is a really good tip actually. If you put, this is what I did, is New Zealand, and then go through the alphabet. A, and it brings up all the questions that people have ever asked about New Zealand that begin with A, and then go through the alphabet right through to the end. And we've picked out 7 of the best.
Right.
You're going to absolutely love this, because you're not going to... What are you on about? What do you mean?
No,
ask
this
your own
is like,
question?
you know, do they speak a different language or something like that?
That's not on my list.
That's what I mean. So that's
not
what I'm
you're blessed.
thinking, like, that's what I would want to know if I didn't know anything about New Zealand.
Do you not know that people in New Zealand speak English?
Well, there's 2 languages, isn't there?
Well, I know that, but
Yeah.
okay, so we're just going to move right on. We're husband and wife, Liz and Brian. We moved from the UK 14 years ago and we live in New Zealand in Taranaki on the west coast of the North Island. And we come to you each week bringing videos and podcasts about the beautiful country of New Zealand. And we like to keep it real as well, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Right, jumping straight on in. First question that people ask. This is common, like, you know, people...
Like a proper question.
Yeah, common. This is what they're asking. Is New Zealand near the South Pole? Why are you laughing?
Well,
What?
it's like saying...
Is it?
What? No.
Oh, it's not?
No, I don't think it is.
Oh,
Why do you think it is?
I don't know. I'm the one that's
is like
typing it out. Bri,
What?
just answer the question, is it or isn't it?
Well, no.
Right, why?
Well, it's closer than South Africa, but do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like saying like latitude, and is it latitude that goes around, longitude that goes round? Mm. So parts of New Zealand are like being in Portugal in the Northern Hemisphere, or you know, even the UK.
Do you know this for a fact, or are you just making up stuff that you've heard people say on YouTube? Are you seem to me to be a little bit vague with your answer.
Well, do you know what? Because you never let me see the question, so I can never do any Google research and figure it out. So I'm just going off my geography.
Yeah. So you
it's
don't
a bit
think
like
it is?
saying, is the UK close to the North Pole?
Is it?
Well, it's not, is it? It's obviously closer than France, but not by far.
Right, OK, so here's the thing. We interviewed Gordy. Go back and watch that video. It's called A Real Kiwi Bloke. And I'm sure he told us that if you go down to the bottom of the South Island, you can smell the penguins on the North Pole.
Well, you know...
That's the North Pole.
No, it's the South Pole.
South Pole.
Penguins are only in the South Pole. Yeah.
So anyway, in answer to your question, no, New Zealand isn't near the South Pole. So don't be coming here thinking it is, OK?
It would be the place where, say you were doing an Antarctic expedition, like going to the South Pole, you'd come to the likes of Dunedin. And you'd leave from there because it is the closest,
So
but
it
it's
is
not near. It's not like not like
you're just trying to be a cocky ass.
it's not like a day's ship ride to the.
No, I know
South
that,
Pole.
but is it close?
It's probably closer than any other landmass. Yes.
So do you want to change your answer?
No, because I don't think it's close.
I think it is.
It's closer than most other places, but it's not. It's not close in the grand scale of things.
It is. It's close because you've just told me that if you were doing an expedition to the South Pole, you'd get on the boat in Dunedin and say, "Can you take me to the South Pole, please?"
Well, there is a new ferry that's opening up in Dunedin that takes you to the South Pole.
So we're changing our answer.
It's like a 50-minute ride.
Right, number 2. Is New Zealand hotter than Australia?
Obviously.
No, it's not hotter than Australia. No. And, you know, just to make sure that you know that we're not just a pair of numpties that sit here arguing, not knowing anything about the country that we live in, I have done some research. Yes. And it says this, Bri.
Yep.
The sun is stronger in Australia since it is higher in the sky due to latitude. New Zealand never experiences 40 degrees plus temperature like Australia does?
No, it's 40. This is 40 plus. It can get to 40 in New Zealand,
Yeah.
I would say, but not 40 plus much.
On a serious note, because we're only joking, and we
Yeah.
know you're doing your research to find out what it's like in New Zealand, and, you know, good on you. But in answer to that question, it gets really hot in New Zealand.
Yes.
Like to the point where you can't go out in the midday sun and just stand there like you would in England or, you know, maybe America, parts of America. Certainly in Asia, you know, we've been to Asia and you walk around in Asia and you don't feel as hot as you do in New Zealand for some reason.
Yeah. Like Liz is saying, it can be 24 degrees like today, but you stand in the sun and it just feels like it's eating you.
Yeah,
You know, I was on the
does.
beach under this particular umbrella that we're under now. I was under it for about 5 hours and I forgot to put my sunscreen on and I got absolutely
Don't admit that
burnt.
on camera, you'll get killed.
Oh no, yeah, but it's
You'll-
just, that's
you'll get-
me. I
oh.
forgot to do it. I thought I'd put it on,
Slip,
you know,
slap,
and
slop.
just like, yep, you know, or put it on at 8 in the morning, and then, you know, 3 in the afternoon, we went out, didn't we? And I just got burnt so bad.
You did.
And
You
that's
cried
under,
about that all
under
night.
an umbrella. So the UV intensity of the sun here is really high.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
but in answer to the question, is it hotter than Australia?
No.
No, it's not hotter than
I mean,
Australia.
obviously, Melbourne's a similar temperature, but we're talking about the whole of Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember at the beginning of the show, before I pressed record on the camera, and
Yeah.
I said, Bri, try and keep our answers to 3 minutes
Yeah.
because
Yeah, but someone's always going to come back and go, oh, well, actually, there's parts of Australia that aren't as hot as New Zealand. Well, obviously not. We have got a desert highway in New Zealand, but it's not a desert. Anyway.
Okay.
There we go.
Question number 3. This is what people are typing into New Zealand. Okay, I love it. I love thinking that there's someone somewhere just typing in questions to Google that you
Yeah.
just think you wouldn't think to ask that, like, you know. So whoever's typed this in, thank you so much, because not only has it given us content, but you know, it's made me happy to think of that.
Yes.
So question number 3
Yeah.
that people are typing in about New Zealand is New Zealand tap water safe to drink?
Oh.
Now, Brian is a plumber, qualified plumber, heating guy, electrician, everything really.
Yeah.
Doctor, dentist, everything, anything, weatherman.
Yes.
So, Bri, answer the question.
Yes. Well, there's 2 answers to this question.
Oh, no. 3 minutes, Bri.
Yeah, there's 2 answers to this question. The first answer is like town water, reticulated water, like comes out the water main in the streets into your house, is very safe to drink. It's I did a backflow prevention course, which let me I can specify backflow devices for all these sort of things. So we looked into the quality of the water in New Zealand, and it's very, very good. Yeah, it can vary a little bit around, but it's on the whole, it's good. The other thing is we're allowed to do in New Zealand is we're allowed to capture rainwater and bore water and stuff like that, and then pump it up into your house. So rural properties like this one is off a rainwater tank. These rainwater tanks can sit outside or inside, but just be careful. If you are coming to New Zealand, some of the rural Airbnbs have water tanks and they don't have any filtration on it, which
Hang
is
on.
pretty shocking.
How can you have an inside water tank? A rainwater tank?
In the ground.
Oh, okay. I thought
Did I
you
say
meant
inside? I
I
just
thought
meant
you meant in the
gra-
house. I was
it's-
thinking, how does the rain get in?
Yeah, well, through pipes.
Okay, go on. Carry on,
Yeah,
backflow.
Yeah. So, okay, backflow going here. So you've just got to be
Don't
careful.
just say that.
I know.
Sorry, right, go on. No, go on.
You
go
just got to be careful with the water that you. If it's rural, just be careful because
You are here because you love New Zealand.
you might be moving to New Zealand.
Living in New Zealand, or you might just spend your days dreaming of visiting this gorgeous country. Because we love New Zealand as much as you do, we have compiled a short and very unique 5-day video series showcasing life in New Zealand, what it's really like. These videos are real, they are exclusive, and best of all, they're absolutely free. So if you would like to view New Zealand from the inside out and find out what life is really like down here, sign up now, and every day for 5 days we will send you a personal 3-minute video showcasing some brilliant aspect of life in New Zealand. You are gonna love it. Go to www.itsadrama.com/ILoveNZ. We can't wait to share those videos with you. Okay, let's get back on with the show.
Careful with the water that you. If it's rural, just be careful because before you drink it, ask the persons whose house it is, and they go, "Oh no, we've never been filtered. It doesn't harm us." Well, actually, it does, but you just don't know it.
That's awkward.
Yeah.
That's awkward, Brian. You say that, but as if you're going to go to someone's house.
Yeah.
You get invited over for a barbecue on a Sunday. Oh, would you like a glass of water, Brian? Well, I don't know. Is it filtered? You're just going to look like a right idiot, aren't you, if you say that?
Yeah, but if you can see that tank sitting out the
I don't
side
care.
there
You'd
in
still
the
drink
stinking
it.
hot sun, which is as hot as Australia at times,
It's also in Australia, I'll tell you.
with only like quarter of a tank left because it hasn't rained for 3 weeks, and it's just getting very hot and buggy in there.
Yeah, but even so, you're
Mosquitoes
not going to
as well.
go, oh, excuse me, what's your articulation?
Do you know what, Liz?
What's your backflow like? Here, mate, please. Can you
Yeah.
describe your backflow before I have a glass of water?
Yeah, have you got any? You don't necessarily need a backflow on a tank. It's an air gap. Okay.
Is New Zealand tap water safe to drink? That's all the person
in the
wants to
towns,
know.
yes. And big villages and things like that.
Okay, so you're still sticking with your point that in
Do you
rural
know,
areas...
if it's been filtered and UV sterilised, then I'm saying yes, it's safe to drink.
Okay. Do you know anyone that's dropped down dead because they've had a glass of
Well,
water in a
people
fire?
turn around and go, "Nothing wrong with me," and then they have all these mysterious illnesses. That obviously not the water.
I think
No.
you're just trying to make that up in your brain so you've
I'm
got
not.
something important to think
Being a
about.
plumber, the first line in the building code says you must protect people from dirty water,
Backflows.
etc. And put a backflow on it, mate.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, go on. Anything else, Bri?
Well, I'm just giving you my
Yeah.
40 plus years of advice.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
there you go.
But I don't want you to frighten people because I don't know.
That's not frightening people, is it? It's
I
just
know,
like
but
if I
there's
was there
enough
rurally, I'd just
scaremongering.
boil the water or something, or get some bottled water, take it with you. I'm not saying it's unsafe, but just be aware.
Just be aware.
Yeah.
If it smells a bit funny, maybe don't drink it. If the person looks a bit dirty that your house is at,
Yeah.
just ask them, when was the last time you cleaned your backflow?
So someone says, some people say to you with rainwater tank's getting a bit funky. What does that mean? It's getting funky.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
on a charge system.
Yeah,
That's the one you've got to
true.
be careful of.
Okay. All right
There
then.
we go.
Number 4 question. Are you enjoying this? I am. I'm really liking it. It's brilliant.
Real question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And after we've done all this, I'm going to read out some comments from the show last week and just give a shout out to a few people as well. So, and also just fill you in on a bit of the personal stuff that's been going on just with us stuff. So, yeah, moving on. Number 4. Is New Zealand quiet? I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon.
It is. It's pretty quiet, isn't it?
Don't be coming here thinking it's LA.
Do you mean just like as
Hey?
in, no? Yeah.
Don't be coming here thinking after 4
Yeah.
o'clock you're going to be able to get a cup of tea anywhere, because you won't.
Yeah.
Will they, Bri?
Do you know what? I was in Opunaki the other day. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Went to the Everyman Theatre there.
Oh, lovely.
And
Gorgeous as well.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Give them a
it's
shout
like
out.
stepping back into
Yeah.
Everybody Theatre, not
Yeah.
Everyman. Everybody Theatre
Yeah.
in Opunaki. Absolutely brilliant. Went to see Ferrari the other night. It's just the banter off the people is amazing.
Beautiful cinema.
A cup of coffee. I went in and said, "Oh, any chance of a cup of coffee?" They sort of looked at me and went, "Oh, it's only instant." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they went, "Yeah, okay." And I went, "That's fine." I said, "Do you take milk?" I went, "Yes." And then she came back up to me when I was sitting down. She went, "Awfully sorry, we've run out of milk at the moment. I'm just going to go over to Foursquare and get some more. What type of milk would you like?"
I'll just nip up the
I
farm
just
and milk the
think
cow.
Brilliant. I just loved it, I was just so pleased that I could get a cup of coffee in the.
I hope you said to her, "Is this water filtered?"
well,
because I won't be having any of your instant rubbish
It's
coffee.
reticulated in Opunaki, so
Oh,
it's all
right,
right.
okay.
Yeah, it's not off a rainwater tank. It's
Right, so come on then, is New Zealand quiet?
Yes, it is. Obviously, Auckland is going to be as noisy as any other city in the world. But to be honest, like you say, most things shut down around about 9 o'clock, and that's it, isn't it? And it's just like everyone's gone home and gone to bed by 10 o'clock.
We say this in the nicest way
Yeah.
possible. New Zealand is quiet, but we like it like that.
Yeah.
So and like Bryce said, you go to Auckland, you go to walk down Cuba Street at 6 o'clock on a Saturday, whatever, it's packed, it's busy, and there's lots going on. But we live in New Plymouth, so our experience is always going to be based around this town and or this city. And
Yeah, we're rural as well. Our daughter Tess comes home from Wellington. She lives right in the CPD, and she comes back and she just says, I can't believe how well I sleep when I come here because it's so quiet at night.
oh yeah, but she also gets on my nerves a bit as well, because she says things like, "Oh, is there anything going on?"
Yeah.
And you're like,
There's nothing going
know
on
what's
here.
going on. You've lived here for 18
You grew
years.
up here.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Go back to Wellington if you want something to be going
That's it.
on.
What I remember saying to her, so what is it you can do in Wellington that you can't do here in New Plymouth? And I can go to the theatre, so you can here. And it's just like, yeah,
That's
but
not
so how
entirely
much money
true.
do you have to spend on a regular day just to go and do things? And that's the difference.
But yeah, it's quiet and we love it like that.
Yeah.
And you will come to love that as well, because it's just, you come to New Zealand and you can just go, ugh.
Yeah.
Even though it annoys you sometimes, you know, we've made loads of videos about that. It can be a little bit, frustrating. But mostly it's the charm of New Zealand is, yes, it's quiet.
Well, that's why people come here, isn't it, you know?
Right, moving on.
Right.
Question number 5.
Question number 5.
This is a biggie, this one. This is what everyone wants to know. Is New Zealand expensive? What are you looking at your watch for?
I was just
Stop
checking.
making me feel stressed.
Yeah.
Is New Zealand expensive? Yes or no? First answer.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. I'm going to say
It's not cheap, is it?
depends where you're comparing it to.
All right, Thailand.
Thailand, yes.
India?
UK, no.
Well,
No,
yeah.
no.
Oh, but people always go, but my Tesco's bill, you can get this for this. It's like, oh, good luck then.
Why are you talking like that? What accent's that?
I don't know. Just people like, you know, I can't. Food's not as cheap in New Zealand.
Do you know what? I think I was interviewing someone on our other podcast, NZ Ahead podcast, the other day, and she made a really good point. She said, if you, like, in New Zealand, if you go back 10 years ago, yes, things have gone up a lot.
As everything has,
as
around the
everything
world.
has.
Yeah.
She said, but being here now, like she'd just moved over from the US, she said, there's no difference. There's absolutely no difference. She said, so I think people tend to say, oh, it's so expensive, things have gone up. I think it's people like us who've been here a long time that remember the good old days, you know, and just think, well, not the good old days to us, like that was 15 years ago.
15 years ago, yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you do tend to think, oh, things have gone up. But honestly, compared to the UK, when we came back from Europe last year or the year before, whenever it was, there's no difference. There really isn't any difference.
There's not a great deal. Some things are cheaper, obviously. Some things are more expensive. But I don't know. Yeah, we're not. Just generally, New Zealand, I don't think is cheap to live in.
No, but why would it be?
House
Why
prices,
would it
house
be?
prices are expensive. Food is just the same as kind of everywhere else. You can find, like I say, find cheap stuff, expensive stuff. But the general question to me, it's not cheap.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's
okay.
super expensive, but it's just not cheap.
Yeah, is New Zealand expensive?
You know, you look at the price of accommodation in an Airbnb.
Okay, then. So you can't. The question isn't is New Zealand. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
The question is New Zealand expensive? Is your answer yes or no?
Yes.
My answer's no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is, because I just think I keep comparing it to the rest of the world. So
If you take out the equation of like the things that you can do for free here,
yeah,
then yes, it's not expensive. But I think hotel accommodation is kind of expensive. It's not cheap. It's not like Asia, is it? And
but you're comparing it to Asia.
Oh,
so
yeah, but
look at the stuff we stayed at when we were going around England and
I know if you look at
France and stuff, it was expensive.
Yeah, it was expensive. Like when you see what you get for €100 a night, it's not
Yeah.
great, is it? Which would be around about 150 New Zealand dollars. And when you see what you get for 150 New Zealand dollars, you can stay in a 4-star hotel in Hamilton.
And going back
Yeah.
as well, I just skimmed on it. Again, this is a whole different topic. A whole, you could spend all your whole podcast doing this. Is New Zealand expensive? And you think, you're saying yes or things are expensive. But why wouldn't it be? That's what I was going to say.
I know.
Is
Yeah.
why wouldn't it
Yeah,
be?
exactly.
I think people still think that you can come to New Zealand, like back in the day, I can only compare it to when we used to go to Greece, when we were like teenagers and stuff, or
Yeah.
in our 20s, we'd go to Greece and everything was dirt cheap. And you could get a massive big bottle of beer for like 10p.
Yeah.
And, it was, those were the good old days but New Zealand is New Zealand. It's like you get what you pay for. It's like,
Well, it's like you say, it's the other side of the world. It's its closest sort of country is Australia. So
South Pole.
South Pole, yeah. So you look at it, it's not mainland America, it's not mainland Europe. So yeah, it's an island. It's going to be more expensive. It's not
Yeah.
as cheap as Australia probably. But then you look at Australia.
sorry for that long-winded answer, but yeah, Bry's answer to the question when you're sitting there Googling it is, yes, it is expensive. And mine is, compared to everywhere else apart from Asia, no. I don't think you're going to notice a massive difference and come over here. Where's the most expensive place you've ever been to in the world?
Probably America.
Really?
Yep.
Why? Where?
Everywhere. Because it's just a stealth tax for everything.
Oh, I don't know.
You go to the restaurant and it's like, oh, it's $100. Actually, it's $115. Why? Because you've got tax. Well, you don't tell me about that. So it starts off cheap. Everything you buy has tax added to it. So what looks like is $10 isn't. It's $11.50.
Calm yourself down, Bri.
I'm just saying.
Just a question.
There you go. Yeah, but it's just things like that. That thing, and to park your car costs a fortune. There's no free parking.
Oh no,
Just
no,
things
I
like
don't.
that.
Well, I don't think so.
Unless it's in next to your house, then it might be.
I don't seem to
It
remember.
just seems to be like you've got to pay for everything.
I'll tell you what is
health
cheap.
insurance, everything.
Tell you what's cheap in
What?
America.
What?
You can go to Target, get a really nice pair of tracky bottoms. You're only going to pay $4.
I know, but where's it come from?
What do you mean?
Well,
Target.
I
Where do you
know.
think it's come
Well,
from?
That's what, it's just not made in Target, is
It's
it?
made around the back in the car
Yeah,
park.
that's it. Yeah.
Right, anyway, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Right, you'll like this one, Brian. Question number 6. The most commonly asked questions about New Zealand on Google. Question number 6. Is New Zealand floating?
Well, it did move a metre.
You don't know the answer to this, and I do because I've done my research.
Is New Zealand floating?
Yeah.
Well, if you talk about the tectonic plates, then yes, it would be kind of floating. But, the whole South Island in the Kaikoura earthquake moved a metre to the east, closer to Australia.
Shall I help you out?
You can do.
Because I didn't know the answer to this either.
Well, it's not floating, is it? It's.
Well,
Well, it's
do you want me
not,
to
no.
help you out?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Because you won't know this.
All right, okay.
Right, listen to me.
All right.
So Zealandia,
Yep.
also known as, I'm going to give it a go, my Māori pronunciation isn't the best, Te Riuamoe or Tasmantis, is an almost entirely submerged mass of continental crust in Oceania that subsided after breaking away from Gondwana 83 million years ago.
Right.
It's been described variously as a submerged continent. The landmass that was to become New Zealand, listening, broke away from Gondwana, splitting away from Australia and Antarctica as the Tasman Sea opened up. Today, most of the landmass, 94% of it, remains submerged beneath the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Hang on. Can't wait, can you? Just wait. I'm always getting told off for not letting you talk. Let me talk. New Zealand is I'm nearly done. New Zealand. New Zealand is the largest part of Zealandia that is above sea level, followed by New Caledonia.
Right.
So,
What?
it is floating.
No, it's not floating.
It is.
No, it's not.
It's on a continent under the sea.
No.
Yes.
It's not floating, is it?
Why?
Because it's part of the continent of Zealand, as you call it.
Zealandia.
Zealandia.
Yeah.
Is submerged. That's all it means. It's underwater.
Oh, so has it got like its roots on the bottom of the ground?
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be. It'd be like Pandora, wouldn't it? It would be a floating island. Just
I'd love
take
that.
off.
Then you could charge more to come to New
Yeah,
Zealand.
you
Imagine
could.
that.
Imagine this big wave and it's like, whoa. I know there's an earthquake, but.
In fact, that's what they should do for New Zealand, shouldn't they? The tourist board should take that up. They should just tell a little lie and say, oh, yeah, New Zealand is a
By the way, it's
floating
floating.
island.
Yeah. We're throwing
Listen,
some
that
extra. There's a big storm coming. We're going to put some more anchors down in case it floats away.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it,
Yeah.
Bri?
Yeah, big sea
Fancy
anchors.
that.
Yeah.
Floating around. So I'm going to leave you up to this one then. Up to you.
Yeah.
So it's not floating?
No.
Okay. All right then.
It's solidly on the sea bottom.
It's solidly on the beach.
Solidly
on the
sea
sea bottom then, please.
Yes,
If
there
you just...
you go. The sea. I'm trying to make it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Before we move on to question number 7, our last question, I just wanted to give a big shout out to the listeners around the world who tune into this channel. I was looking on the analytics the other day. Obviously, a lot of people that listen to us are from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, but we've got a massive audience listening from Canada.
Yep.
So big shout out to Canada, to the USA. You're not going to believe this.
What?
Philippines is
I know.
right up there, and Serbia. So if you're listening from Serbia or the Philippines, thank you so much for joining us on the channel.
Yeah.
Lovely to have you with us. And we hope we're filling you with good stuff.
Well, I can't. We hit #1 in Estonia on the podcast the other day. It's like
It's because they
Estonia?
can't understand us, Bri. They're just
Hello?
thinking, what?
Yeah,
What-
but
what's he saying?
Serbia.
They're just tuning in to look at the garden, that's all.
It. It's crazy, isn't it?
Right, the last question that people are sitting on Google typing in about New Zealand is New Zealand liberal? Answer, this is very easy to answer.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Very liberal. It's
It
a
is.
very liberal country.
It is a very liberal
Yeah.
country. Probably the most liberal country I've probably ever lived in.
that you've ever lived in. We've only lived in 2.
That's all right.
Oh no, you've lived in Canada, you've lived
Yeah.
in France, and you've lived in England.
Yep.
And still the liberalist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to speak for Brian, I'll speak for myself. I know nothing about politics. I don't follow any politics, and I don't know
think we're
anything
talking
about
about
it.
the Liberal Party, are we?
No, but I'm just so that is clear,
Yeah.
like, you know, because I don't want people to say, oh, talk about the Conservatives and stuff. I don't know about that.
And Labour.
Yeah. Since the 1970s, this is
Yeah.
what I found on the internet. Since the 1970s, New Zealand has shown a more socially liberal outlook. Beginning with the decriminalisation of homosexuality in 1986, successive governments have progressively increased the protection of LGBT rights, culminating in the legalisation of same-sex marriage in 2013. Oh, I thought I had more notes than that. But
All right.
anyway, it goes,
That sort of thing,
you know, like... First, weren't we the first country to same-sex marriage? You could get married to the same-sex person.
Yep. I think New Zealand was the first country in the world to give women the vote as well.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, not I think. We know that
Yes.
for a fact.
And the Maori population, I think for Maori men, it's one of the first countries in the world to give the indigenous men that have been colonised the right to vote as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you know, have to take your hat off to do it. Hat off to New Zealand for doing those sort of things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely don't be coming over here thinking people are prudish like us. Don't watch this channel and think everyone in New Zealand is like us, because they're not.
No. Nothing
They're
like us
very
at all.
open. We've
Yeah.
talked before about, you know, when we go down the beach. We went down the beach last week, didn't we, Brian? Saw a
Yeah.
couple of nudies
Yep.
down there,
And
letting it swing.
We did talk about that, didn't we?
Yeah,
Did we
we
talk about this? I think we did, didn't we? Just getting it all out there. Yeah.
So no,
Just,
a very liberal.
Just on one little point, Liz, because we're getting to near the end. Would you like to just explain how your little swim went last night?
Oh, well, this is what I was going to talk to you about, our little personal stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because I said we'd fill you in with some personal stuff. We've been having a lovely, lovely summer here in New Zealand.
It's been fantastic.
And we made it our point at the beginning of this year, because we've had some personal stuff going on in our life. My mum's not very well, and you know, it makes you realise how important time is. You know, just to
Yeah, it
spend
does,
doing beautiful
Stuff
things
for
with your
yourself.
family.
Yeah.
Just being with your family and just not just working all the time. So we've been making a point of going down to the sea every night to have a swim. And we've been doing so well. We go down to Owakura down there and just jump in, even if it's for like 2 or 3 minutes or whatever, just having a swim around.
Yeah.
And we went down there last night and we're driving down. And I said to you, oh, it looks a bit rough. I did. I said, should we just go in the quieter part, like, you know, the flatter part? And Brian's like, no, we'll just go in the waves. It'll be fine here, we'll just go here. You did.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay.
And we go out into the sea, right? And I'm not joking. You know, when you walk out, it suddenly just gave way. It was all shallow, and then there was a big dip, wasn't
Yeah,
there?
well, it's by a river mouth where we go. It's only a small river. It's not a big river. But when the waves are dumping at the moment,
My favourite chocolate.
yeah.
I need it now because I'm thinking about what happened last night. I'm getting nervous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When the waves dump on the beach, sort of thing, it basically washes out the sand. So you can be walking out knee height, and the next minute you're up to your chest, and then you go out, and you've got to go up and down almost to get out to where the waves are breaking, like, you know. And then it just turned sort of really
it's
quite
horrible.
rough, didn't it? And the sort of the rip undertow pulling you out was phenomenal.
Yeah,
you know.
there was massive waves just crashing. I just said to Brian, I looked out and all I could see was Brian, and behind him it was like, honestly, it was like a tidal wave. It was coming like this, and you know, I started to panic, and I was like, Brian, get out, like, you know, let's go. Anyway, we turned round to get out, and the rip was pulling us back. The waves were just crashing on top of my head.
And you're at your depth, but you're in your
Oh,
depth.
it
If
was
you went further out,
horrible.
you were a normal sort of height. But trying to get back in, you had to go out your depth to get back in.
Yeah. So just please, if you're swimming in New Zealand seas or any seas, please be safe and stay within the flags and where people can see you.
But it was after 7 o'clock, so the flags weren't there.
It was, yeah, there was no flags, but just don't go being silly like we did last night. Like, oh yeah, let's just jump in the waves, because it was pretty scary. I was pretty
You
shook
got quite
up.
frightened,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I did. I did.
And I saw Liz worried, and I was like, all right, I'm still at my depth, but I'm trying to like, right, come on, let's just keep going then.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all right, but
There's
it's
nothing worse, is there, when you're at the mercy of nature. You know, when you realise how small you are when something like that happens, and you just think, as much as you think, oh yeah, I'm a good swimmer and I've got this, and it's like, just have complete respect and just make sure that you do the right thing.
And you were saying, don't be frightened to put your hand up and shout to the beach for help if you need it.
I know, but I was saying that. I thought...
Most people are too proud, aren't they? I'm all right.
But would you though, Bri?
Yeah, yeah.
I hope I would, but I'd be probably too embarrassed and be like, oh, I don't want to bother you, but excuse me, I'm drowning. That'd be me.
Yeah.
Right, before we go, lovely, lovely, lovely people, I just wanted to read out, we don't normally do this, but do you know what? Again, this whole thing of the new year and new perspective and just realising how lucky you are to have the people that you have around you has really made us aware, and not that we weren't before, but made us more aware, let's say, of just how special this community that we've created here on YouTube really is. And I want you to know, me and Bri both want you to know that we do not take your views and your comments and your presence lightly. We've said it before and we will continue to say it. We are so grateful that you spend the time with us when there's millions of other people that you could choose from. And we just wanted to say thank you and just read out a couple of comments from last week's show. So last week we did an episode on Kiwi summer and we were talking about just
skinny dipping and stuff. Yeah.
So Marv1215 says, I'm listening to this podcast bang on sunset as I finish the weeding. The sun is going down and I can't see very well anymore. It's a wonderful time of day to be in the garden. Cheers from the other side of New Plymouth, just outside Bell Block. So Marv, thank you so much.
Wow. That's just over that way, Bell Block.
Actually, it's Mavra. I think it's M-A-V-R. M-A-V-R, yeah. But just to say thank you so much. And then Kent Stanley said, hi, Liz and Brian. Nice to see your smiley faces again. The garden looks great, by the way. It's looking good, isn't it?
I know.
Hope to be back home this time next year, fingers crossed. So we would love to see you back here, Kent. I think you're in Australia. Kate Plink, 1633. I love this. Wait till you hear this. She said, in Timaru on some evenings, you can see the fairy penguins come up from the beach to their nests in the rocks, and it is still light until 10 o'clock that far south.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I read that, Kate, I was like, in fact, I still have. I've got goosebumps. I just think, oh, that is like something out of a
See, that wasn't on one of the questions,
tale.
was it? Do you get penguins in New Zealand? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, and the way she called them fairy penguins. That's just lovely. So, and lastly, Kathleen Lovett, 2425. She says, because we talked about Kiwis camping and how they take everything with them. She says, I am an American who once went camping with my Kiwi family on the Coromandel Peninsula, and my daughter-in-law brought her bread maker and her silver toast rack.
Brilliant.
I just thought that was fantastic, Kathleen. I just thought, oh, I've got to read that out.
Yeah.
So.
Going camping with 240 volts.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying, wasn't it? The Kiwis bring the lot.
Yeah.
So, we hope you enjoyed today's show. We hope you had a good laugh with us. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe, share the podcast with your friends.
Yeah, just share
Leave
it
a
out there.
comment.
Send it to someone and go, hey, we watch these guys. Are you watching them?
Yeah.
So please, it helps us enormously to grow the channel and keep doing what we're doing.
Yes. But like I said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you. Like attracts like, and we are so happy to have you sitting with us on this show. So have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, so enjoy the summer or the winter wherever you are, and kia kaha, stay strong, and kia u, stay true, and that's true to yourself. And like Liz said, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
See you now.
Bye.
Bye.
How long does it take when you move to New Zealand from another country till you truly feel like nothing will ever shock you again? You know everything there is to know about New Zealand. That's what we thought. But this week, we discovered 3 things that we were like, seriously?
And on the back of the toilet door, and it said, do not panic. We are working to...
In this week's episode, we're going to share with you some typical New Zealand ways that blew us away and made us realise we're still learning about living in New Zealand.